Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So for today's video, it will be a time lapse of my OC. So 90% of it was done in Procreate on my iPad mini, while the last about 10% I managed to get imported into Clip Studio just for the final touches, like post stuff, I guess you could say. This piece was actually very unexpected, as I was kind of just randomly sketching in my sketchbook, and I just came up with, like, I think just a portion of him or something, and I was like, okay, I think I can envision this whole piece. And he's then sitting on a chaise lounge, chaise, I never really know how the hell to pronounce that furniture, to be honest. I keep forgetting, even though I think I've looked up the pronunciation. So especially because as a kid I used to think it was spelled Chez or something. I don't know, my Serbian brain is always like, because in Serbian the way you're reading is the way it's written, but that's not always the case with either French or English and a few select languages like that. So yeah, and just like a patterned wallpaper, and I just really wanted him in you know, some like jewelry and stuff like that too, because I wanted to get an opportunity to paint the shine. So yeah, I had like the perfect vision for this artwork. Well, not quite perfect, because there was a few things I realized I was missing out, which you'll see later in, but more or less, like, at least for the character and the furniture he was sitting on and the wall, that was definitely something I definitely knew what I was painting. This particular original character was basically the first original character I had really drawn in my journey of trying to get better at drawing characters in general. Like, it's not as if I was never drawing people or trying to draw characters, it's just I wasn't really good at it, and I couldn't really nail it down or do, like, it would take too much effort. It would be insane. I hated it. And to be honest, I mostly anyway focused on landscape, architecture, and whatever, just a lot of basically concept art type of background drawings. I kept enjoying drawing because I kind of had a want to be part of the video game industry for a while there. But I realized also I really suck at drawing characters, and that also required being good at drawing characters and stuff like that. So yeah, there was just a journey. And because this is the first OC I had ever drawn, he was kind of like the ugly duckling of it, and he was never turning out the way I wanted, because, you know, there was so much things I sucked at drawing, especially male anatomy and hair, specifically hairstyles. It would just always turn out so off from what I wanted. I'm not even sure if it's that evident from the time lapse, but I really struggled with painting the face itself. Like, I really liked how the line art turned out, and the sketch itself was like great and everything. But when it came to actually like painting the face, I really struggled, because my OC has like blue eyes with like a touch of orange in it. That's kind of like the idea of it. And I really did not like how it turned out. And he was kind of looking in a weird way like pale. I even see it here. I think like it even turns out so much paler like on my desktop screen rather versus on my iPad, and it drove me kind of nuts because it just looked so weird and so bad. Like, even like a tiny version here, it's so funny because it kind of reminds me of like Levi from freaking Attack on Titan, like the tiny little thumbnail version, at least. Not really like the full blown at all. It just looked bad in the full blown, and I'm like, this is not exactly what I was picturing at all, you know. After nailing the line art and the vision in my head, like, I was like, I have to get this right. Like, I'm already like here. It's so frustrating. So I definitely did a whole full repaint. Like I wasn't gonna do like the sunk cost fallacy. I was like, I'm just gonna paint his face kind of thing. And I'm not sure if it shows up because I did duplicate the Procreate file and then start over kind of thing, because sometimes I just end up doing that as because you can't really like save multiples in Procreate. You can, whatever you did, if you happen to do it to the file, you can't like go back if you say like to a different old save file. The only way you can do it is like going out and like duplicating the file sort of thing. So I guess that's like your save multiples tactic in this program, which is kind of frustrating and a little bit limiting. So for the inspiration for this particular piece, I feel like I have to go on a little tangent about talking about my little going down the rabbit hole of discovering K-pop groups. I don't know if I want to say rediscovering K-pop, because I did used to listen to it like back in high school, but then I stopped for some reason. I mean, it was mostly my best friend just sending me playlists, because this is kind of how I end up having playlists in the first place, because she sends me things. I'm terrible. I think for the longest time, I kept just defaulting to lo-fi and that epic music or something like that. It was like the longest time I listened to that. And then like some Serbian music playlist or something, but I did get like pretty sick of that. So when I was in Japan, I did like, you know, get a little bit more of a playlist there, and like I think just like in any music thingy, it gives you like playlists you can like listen to. So Apple Music had like a J-pop's popular stuff, so there was like obviously Korean stuff in there too, but I never really take note of like specific group names or anything like that. I just like listen to whatever I listen to. But I guess my social media had other plans. Funny enough, on my particular list for a while, like my playlist, it had mostly like guy groups and mostly ATEEZ, because I realized I did really like them, and it just happened to have more of theirs. I did have like some Stray Kids songs, and I realized I had heard their songs before, and I always liked every time I heard them, but again, I had small amounts. But Threads was like, yo, here is all photos of Felix, and I'm just like, who dis? I don't even know who the hell this is. To be clear, I've never even looked at photos of the bands, the groups, or whatever, anybody. I barely even know, like, for like North American artists, I don't know what the hell Billie Eilish even looks like, any of the big names, other than like Taylor Swift, because her face was always plastered on the news, and like obviously like Beyonce and all those bigger names I kind of do, but like more newer, like since the past decade, if you existed, I don't know your face, I just know your voice kind of thing. And so it was really funny where I just kept seeing pictures of him over and over again on my feed, and I was just like, I don't know who this hell this is. I mean, they look amazing, like holy shit. And I realized, I'm like, this is probably from a K-pop group, and I was like, is it from ATEEZ? I'm like, I don't think so though. And then I checked, I'm like, no, this is from Stray Kids. Okay, why is Felix from Stray Kids all over my feed? I didn't even particularly like note. I think I even looked up ATEEZ. Like, you know, the second you search something, like your feed goes mental, right? But like I didn't type it, I didn't even think Stray Kids, so it wasn't even a mental thought, because you know the jokes that you think about, like vacuum cleaner, you get vacuum cleaner ads all of a sudden. So yeah, Threads decided, no, you're gonna be a Stray Kids stan, okay? You're gonna obsess over them, especially Felix, okay? Enjoy. So yeah, my feed is still just all Stray Kids, with on occasion sprinkled in some ATEEZ, especially like that one particular like concert outfits they're wearing, which are like super gorgeous. And so yeah, this is kind of where all my inspiration came from for this artwork in particular, and maybe some of the current ones I'm like all drawing. I also have to say it's really funny, because when I looked at a particular image, I think it's like Mingy from ATEEZ, it was like, this is kind of the hairstyle I was picturing in my head, or trying to picture kind of for a long time, but could not find any reference images of. God damn, all I really had to search up was K-pop, and then I probably would have found everything. Yeah, so that's pretty funny, but then again, I didn't really have like the skills back then to draw it, so yeah, I found it quite inspiring. So now I was kind of just adding some textures as well. Like a lot of these textures I either created or had like royalty-free textures, like from 3D stuff that I do. And even in the past when I was doing environments, I usually liked to add a little bit of like textures. That's a pattern that I made that I added to the couch. And then I was like thinking, okay, I feel like I need some kind of foreground element or something like that. Yeah, I think the last 80% of this drawing was just me overthinking it and stressing out if it was just like kind of good enough and just messing around with a lot of like post stuff and effects. So yeah, it kind of got crazy there for a while for this one. I even ended up bringing it into Clip Studio to finish it off. But yeah, sorry for the rambling on. I think the biggest thing was just like the inspiration journey for this one. There wasn't really too many technical struggles other than just kind of figuring out what I was going to do for the rest of the elements and overthinking it. So yeah. So if you've gotten this far and enjoyed, I hope you can drop a like and subscribe if you would like to see more of my videos. See you on the next one.